On the address of your emergency. Okay, and the phone number you're calling from. Tell me exactly what's happened.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. And he's said he just came from a neighbor's house, and we know there's been problems at this neighbor's house. He's emaciated, he's got tape around his legs, he's hungry, and he's thirsty.
Okay. Is your door locked?
No, I'm sitting outside with him on the front patio.
Okay, cool.
And he asked us to call the police.
What's
so
his
he's
name?
very afraid. What's your last name? He's 12 years old. Yes.
Okay, and can you ask him his date of birth?
Can you tell me your birthday?
Okay, and are the neighbors out of their home, or is anybody looking for them that you can see?
No. Our homes are far enough away. I'm not sure. How did you get out of the house?
Porch. He went out.
He says he just left through the porch at the neighbor's house. Her name is Jodi Hildebrandt, and she lives 2 doors up the street.
Out here in Cayenne, the houses are far apart.
Yeah, out here in Cayenne, the houses are far apart, so he walked just under the block to get to our house. He rang my doorbell and asked me to call the police.
Does he seem to be under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
I don't think so, but he's very thirsty, and
Need an ambulance?
I don't think he needs an ambulance. I'll let the cops decide that, but his ankles are taped up, and he won't tell us why.
Okay.
But he has duct tape around each ankle. Yeah, there's sores around him. I think there's a good chance he's been...
He also said...
Oh, and he has them around his ankles. I mean, his wrists as well. Okay, this boy has been... He needs... This kid has obviously been... I think he's been detained. He's obviously covered in wounds.
Okay. Let's get the paramedics headed over that way, okay?
Oh, that's a good idea, too.
Let's see. Has he told you where his mom or dad are?
Haven't asked him that. Yeah. You know where your mom is?
I really got you.
Yeah, I'm sure that doesn't matter, son. Do you know where your mom and dad are?
Well, actually, I don't know where my mom is, but I do know where my dad is. He's not anywhere here. No. Nowhere here.
Okay. No, he doesn't seem to. He says he knows where his mom is, but...
He doesn't know where his dad is.
That's correct.
I do know where my dad is.
Is his mom home?
He doesn't live
He just says he doesn't live around here.
Okay.
Separate for the...
Is his mom
Yeah, we're getting...
area?
Is your mom around here? Have you seen her lately? He doesn't know where she is right now.
Does he know his mom's name?
What's your mom's name? Ruby Franke. Ruby Franke is his mom's name.
Okay. How do you spell the last name?
Franke.
Franke.
Okay. And does she live in the area?
No, I'm not sure where she lives. He's trying to help us, but he's...
That's okay. We don't want to stress him out too much. The officers will go over all these questions with him anyway. I just want to stay on the phone with you until we get some help there, okay?
Yeah,
What's your name?
my name is...
Okay. Can you ask him if any other children were in the home he came from?
Okay. Was there any other kids up at Jodi's house? Anybody else? No, I was... Yeah, this is the 30th of, or excuse me, the 29th of August.
It'll be the 30th of August.
10 and 14, and they're still at this house.
Are they tied up as well?
What's the deal with? Are they being held? Do they have wounds on them as well?
Nothing bad going on with us.
Okay. Okay. So they're able to walk around the house and everything. Well, okay. He says everything's fine with them. Grain of salt.
Okay.
He says what's happened to him is his fault.
That's not a problem. That's sad to hear. They're coming to you as quick as they can, okay?
Okay,
You're
yeah.
doing really well.
Yeah,
I just want to make sure.
He's fine. I've got him sitting here. My wife, he got him water and giving him something to eat because he's hungry, and I think the young man, he's hearing his stocking feet. So he escaped.
Well, I'm glad that he was able to make it to you.
They're on their way.
So you could be safe. They should just be pulling up now. Let me know when they're with you, okay?
Will do. I hear a car, but they're not coming on the driveway. You did good. Enjoy that banana, okay?
Yeah, he
did the right thing.
Seconds ago, so he might be waiting for his partner. I'm not sure.
Is Jodi up there right now? Okay. Jodi Hildebrandt is up there right now.
Okay.
So she may come looking for him here soon, but she's not gonna, obviously. We need the cops here as soon as possible.
I'm just asking where he is now.
Yeah, she's a bad lady. We didn't realize how bad.
Okay, let's see. I'm just asking where he is. Well, it sounds like he's making a phone call real quick. to a sergeant. He is going to head up.
Okay. All right. Well, if we have to take him inside the house, we will. We're just sitting outside right now because we have chairs out here, and it was convenient.
That's okay. If anything, he's sitting out down your driveway and keeping an eye on the house. So if that's where you feel safe, that's where the child feels safe, and let's just stay where you're at.
Yeah, I think we're doing this. Yes.
Does he have anything with him?
No, he's wearing a long sleeve shirt and shorts, and it's way too big for him.
Can you tell me what color the shirt and shorts?
Okay, the ambulance is here.
Okay.
So.
Are they with you?
No, they're just not getting out of the truck.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and I'll let you go then. You did a great job.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Bye.
Shocking new revelations in the child abuse arrest of mom influencer Ruby Franke, who shot to fame chronicling her life with her husband and 6 kids on her YouTube channel, 8 Passengers.
I'm going to take you through what our routine has looked like.
Today, Ruby Franke's estranged husband, sisters, and nephew are all breaking their silence about her stunning downfall.
What was your reaction when you heard about these charges?
Disgusted, horrified.
On her YouTube channel, the Utah mom was known for dispensing eyebrow-raising parental punishment, like the time her 8-year-old daughter forgot her lunch at school.
Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
But nothing could prepare fans for the jailhouse jumpsuit-wearing mom's court appearance after she and her new podcasting partner, Jodi Hildebrandt, were arrested on felony child abuse charges.
Miss Franke's being held on a no-bail hold.
The women had been offering relationship advice on their podcast when police say Ruby's abused 12-year-old son escaped from a window in Hildebrandt's Utah home. Matthew Franke is Ruby's nephew.
Did you see any red flags that made you think that makes sense?
Not really. We always thought she was kind of weird, like a little bit on the stricter side, but nothing that screamed abuse.
Ruby's sisters are also speaking out.
We are in complete shock still as to what she had done because we had no idea of what was happening.
I am beyond disgusted. It is truly unbelievable.
I'm gonna get emotional. I love children. I love children. I love your children. And I have a very sacred charge to help you protect them. And Ruby, that's what she's doing. Her husband, other people, she's allowed me to be in her life so I can help raise and teach and guide her children. And that's what we want to share with you, is how to do that.
Police say this is the house a young child escaped from and went to a neighbor's house asking for food and water.
Officers say there were signs that he had been tied up.
They said that child was severely malnourished along with another one they found inside the same home.
The child had duct tape around his ankles and wrists and was severely malnourished.
I think all of us could get on board with, yeah, I have righteous anger toward adults abusing children.
This is a woman who at one point had 2.5 million subscribers to her YouTube channel. This is all about parenting. And now, after her arrest, one of her adult children posted a picture of authorities outside the home with the caption, "Finally."
This morning, the sisters of Ruby Franke, the YouTuber who gained online fame with her tough and often controversial parenting advice.
Up until now, I was really hoping that keeping them home from school and wiping the floorboards would really bring.
Franke, taken into custody alongside her business partner Jodi Hildebrandt. Together, they claim to help coach people online looking for joy in life and relationships.
Those of you who are angry about principles, come and be taught. We'd love to have you.
The female does have duct tape around each ankle. He's not telling the RP why. And said that there's sores around his wrists and ankles. The RP is becoming emotional regarding the child's health. I'm going to go ahead and have medical stay down this one.
I'm not even going to let you eat breakfast until you get your chores done.
Both Franke and her business partner, Jodi Hildebrandt, were arrested on August 30th after Franke's 12-year-old son broke free out of duct tape from Hildebrandt's home and rushed to a neighbor for help. It happened in the small community of Ivins, Utah, about 4 hours south of Salt Lake City.
Our whole life's goal is to make our kids happy. And most of the time we're trying to make our kids happy, what we're actually doing is being in distortion and inviting them into a controlling dynamic.
When first responders arrived to the scene near Hildebrandt's home last week, they found Franke's 12-year-old son emaciated with duct tape around his wrists and ankles. While investigating a nearby home, officials found additional children in the same condition. 4 children were taken to the Department of Child and Family Services, and both Franke and Hildebrandt were taken into custody, eventually charged with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse.
Hey, 314, the wounds on his leg are pretty good. 12X511, 314, medical's gonna transport him, said that his wounds are in need of immediate care.
Titled, "What We Haven't Told You." In the video, she explained her teenage son, Chad, had been sleeping on a beanbag for months.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October, and they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago. I'll give you the reason why I lost my bedroom. That I woke Russell up at 2 in the morning and told him that we're going to Disneyland and he has to pack. And he got up and made his bed all neatly and then packed all his clothes in a suitcase. And then he walked out the door and I'm like, Russell, and he's like, what? And he's all happy. Has his sunglasses on. All the reason is because I pointed a BB gun at his face.
Pointed a BB gun at his face and hung him on the basketball. It's not funny.
We moved, the bigger room in the basement was automatically his and I didn't have a room, but we like put one on hold for me.
So a lot of you are like, hey, that's not fair because Chad got the lesser bedroom and Russell got the bigger bedroom. Russell got the big bedroom and Chad got the smaller bedroom. And Russell's bigger bedroom also had a bathroom. But what you guys didn't know was Chad didn't get any room. He didn't get anything. He was sleeping on the floor in the family room. Chad hasn't had a flip phone, a smartphone, any kind of phone, and it's been over a year. And I still have no intention of returning a phone. Abby, we took the phone away from Abby in November. And you may never get the phone back.
Probably not.
And now I have no friends.
You can play with friends.
No, like I don't have friends.
I don't have friends either.
I literally like told my friends I'm not hanging out with them anymore.
Because
They say some pretty messed up stuff.
I've noticed that you've been hiding from me and you are feeling a lot of embarrassment and shame. I don't know. You tell me what you're feeling. Mad?
Because I really won't get anything this summer. I won't be able to go anywhere. You know, I don't have any friends.
They just got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children. I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry, and hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch. And my kids are literally starving. I hesitate to say this because it's gonna sound like I'm like a mean barbarian, but I told the kids, I said, I'm not even gonna let you eat breakfast until you get your chores done.
After these videos were posted, a Change.org petition was created by viewers hoping to send child protective services to the Franke family home. Nearly 18,000 people signed the petition, but the case was closed, citing insufficient evidence.
Who hate me, who would like to cancel me, who would like to see me either burn in hell, as I have told, or disappear off the face of the earth. and I'm not going. It is Christmas time, and today is Saturday, and my plan is to clean the house. Deep clean for the holidays. You guys want to help me? No. Do you want to help me clean? No. Do you want to help me? No. Julie, do you want to help me? No. Sherry, you'll help me? Come on, please. I might be on my own on this. Just kidding, kids are not entitled to get out of chores. They will help. You the best.
Thanks. Your breath is not the best.
Honestly, my biggest fear ever since I started vlogging was, but what if I wake up and my children are just staring at a wall all day and there's nothing to film? That is legitimately my biggest fear.
So, Ruby Griffiths met Kevin Franke. They got married, and they had their first child back in 2003. Kevin had graduated from Utah State University for undergrad and then got his graduate degree from Brigham Young University in civil engineering. He went on to teach engineering at BYU as an associate professor. Kevin and Ruby are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They end up having 6 children together: Shari, Chad, Abby, Julie, Russell, and Eve. The family lived in Ivins, Utah. It's about 4 hours away from Salt Lake City. But then you fast forward to 2015, and Ruby and Kevin started a channel on YouTube called 8 Passengers.
I've never once forgotten to vlog. Like, it's like forgetting to eat or forgetting to breathe. What do you do when you're disciplining your kids and they make you laugh? Mom. Oh, it's frustrating. All of my kids have done it. Chad does it too.
I do not, because I never get disciplined.
According to the Utah Division of Professional Licensing, Jodi Hildebrandt is a clinical mental health counselor. She started her own YouTube channel known as Connections.
So many of us that are parents, it's like, I don't want to have to track them down. I don't want to have to just, like take everything away from them. And it's like, you're not taking things away from them. What you're doing is you've handed them things that they're not managing. And so it's your job to make sure that the first thing they manage is themselves. Like, they understand how to manage themselves. They know how to be responsible for themselves. They know how to not blame. They know how to get curious, which means humble. They know how to ask questions. They know how to say, that doesn't feel right. Can you help me understand? They know how to do all that. And when you give them activities or you give them opportunities that they engage in where they can't manage themselves, they're only going to become more and more unmanageable inside of these activities.
And at some point, Ruby Franke joined Connections. We also believe that Kevin might have been in some of those videos. In fact, the website lists Ruby Franke as a certified mental fitness trainer. And Franke, as I said, appeared alongside Hildebrandt in these videos.
I have been full-time. You wonder where I've been on my vlogs? You wonder why I left YouTube? It's to save my kids. No amount of money. And I'm telling you, I was making millions. And I left it because my kids were being hurt. With entitlement, they were being hurt. With people's advice, and they didn't have a mother up the front saying, I don't care what the world's opinion is. This is the truth, and this is where I stand.
On September 18th, 2022, the couple's daughter, Shari Franke, called police. You see, Shari basically cut ties with her family after Ruby started working with Jodi at Connections, and she herself was attending Brigham Young at the time. But Shari reported that her siblings had been left home alone for days, and she wanted to make sure that they had enough food. So police show up. The kids reportedly wouldn't answer the door, but police could see them inside. The police speak with the neighbors. In fact, according to an officer in a report, quote, everyone who came to the scene was very concerned about the children and them being left at home alone, expressed great concern about the 2 youngest children being homeschooled while the 2 older ones go to public school, mostly because it shows that they are home alone during the day by themselves and there isn't any way for them to contact emergency services if needed. Reporting indicates that law enforcement stopped by the house 4 more times between September 22nd and October 3rd, but it doesn't seem anything came from it. But when Franke and Hildebrandt were arrested, Shari posted on her Instagram story a photo of the police with the caption, "Finally." Well, now it seems that there is plenty of evidence that points to abuse behind the scenes of these popular videos. The children are now in the care of Child Protective Services as Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt await a bail hearing later this month. As for Kevin Franke, who has not been criminally charged, according to his attorney, Kevin is distraught that he denies any knowledge of abuse and that he has been living separately from Ruby for the last 13 months.
Because they get so mad that they can't control what's going on, they turn right around and go give us a 1-star review. Now, we've made it really easy for them to do that because we've been trying to make it really easy for you to give us a 5-star review. We've put the link on the bottom of every single post. So all you have to do is click the link and give us a 5-star review. That's as simple as it is. But you guys aren't doing it. I think we've had 5 people from the last time I asked, which was probably a month ago. 5 out of almost 9,000, 5 people give us a review that's 5. And we've had probably 50 to 75 people give us 1-star reviews. So we started with a 5, and in 3 months we're down to like a 2. Aggression and evil has dominated our world because there's too many of us that want to live in truth that are not standing up. So please, at a minimum, please, I don't understand why you won't do it. Go on to Moms of Truth. There is a link underneath every single video that says, give us a review. Click it and give us a 5-star, please. It will get our rating back up.
$12X11, can you copy child abuse? 12X11, 12X4, if you can back on a child abuse.
Control 12X11, I'll be 17, I'll back 17.
Yeah, by this will be at 1961 North, you on drive, where he said a 12-year-old male showed up with tape around his legs Thursday asking for help, said he was afraid asking for police.
10-4, you can show me 17.
10-4, he gave an unknown date of birth, or he did give us a date of birth, but I'm not sure. Spillman. I'll keep looking into that. The RP said he left through the porch of the neighbor's house. 470, control 1036.
Control 12X4.
Go ahead.
I copy that traffic. Myself and 5 are going to be out of the area. We'll be in Hurricane Intensic for an hour or so.
10-4, sorry, I didn't say that you put yourself off. I will note that. Break 470, control 1036.
Control 4, thanks.
Stand for break 12X11 and 17, just 1014. The male does have duct tape around each ankle. He's not telling the RP why. And said that there's sores around his wrists and ankles. He's becoming, or correction, the RP is becoming emotional regarding the child's health. I'm going to go ahead and have medical stage on this one.
Copy. 1X4323.
12X11, 12X4, or 17, sorry. The RP said that he left from a neighbor of Jodi Hildebrandt, or Tagu in Ivans, 54-year-old female. Not sure if they're related. When asking the RP's parents info, he said his mom is Ruby Franke, unknown where she lives.
Copy.
12X11, 12X17. I do have a Ruby Franke spelling with an E on the end of Franke address out of Springville. Only involvement was a traffic offense a couple days ago.
Copy.
He's also saying that there's 2 of his sisters are back at the home as well.
Copy that. Control 12X11, 23. 12X11, 12X5, will you give me a 21? 10-4. Control 12X17.
Go ahead.
Do you have an address for that, Jodi?
Stand for 854 Tagu Circle, or Tagu Drive.
10-4, can you put that on the CAD, please?
Is looking out the front, go left. It's going to be your first house on Tagu Court on the right.
Copy that, thank you.
RPing the Juber going to be sitting out on the front porch. No visible weapons. The male is currently wearing a long sleeve and shorts. And medical's 23 as well.
10-4 ETA, 3 minutes. Medical's in front of me.
10-4, I'll send you Jodi's 27 as well.
Copy that.
3, you're well for check as well.
10-4.
Cover, thank you.
12X511. Go ahead.
Hey, 314. The wounds on his leg are pretty good.
10-4.
Close hold, X17. 78 West. Can you run a Rose Frank? 4.
In need of immediate care.
Copy. Control, Totex 4. You show myself in 5 heading that way.
I don't have any Rose Frankies coming back in Stillman or in Utah. I did find a Ruby Frankie, which I sent to 12X11, showing an address out of Springville. However, only involvement is a traffic offense a couple days ago.
10-4. Control 12X11 for your 14 as well. The child looks very emaciated.
Copy 81109.
12X5, 12X17, go ahead with me. He's on the phone.
17, this is 3. Will you just make sure that nothing happens until you get people there to look at what's going on?
4, you want medical to hold off to transport to the hospital?
We need to get some photographs first.
10-4, we're going to have him hold here.
Yeah, if he's alert and breathing, just hang out and wait for us, please.
4.
7X1, can you copy suicidal? 7X1, control.
Good.
Can you copy suicidal?
Hey, LT, there's a panic room inside the garage. Downstairs, underneath the garage.
Passages through the safe door, delivery safe.
Yeah, he says it's downstairs and it's underneath one of the garages, and he's calling it a safe room. He said something about Fort Knox, so I don't know if it has a Fort Knox door or safe on it, but that's what he's talking about.
10-4, we've got it, but we can't get into it.
My guess is that would be where they're at. He says it's a large room, it's a panic room.
You're the mother and she is the child. This is not a relationship where you trust her. That's not your job as a mother. In fact, your job as a mother is to constantly be scrutinizing her, to constantly be judging her choices against principle.
My gosh, you guys, having kids is so much fun.
New shocking accusations coming from Ruby Franke herself, the disgraced YouTuber mom now charged with multiple counts of child abuse. The Utah mother of 6 now alleges one of her children sexually assaulted one of their siblings and neighbors for years.
Anytime you think, I want, fill in the blank, I don't care what it is, that is not love. Mm-hmm. Love is a gift that you offer because you have generated it inside yourself. And how do you generate love? Well, the only way to generate love is you use your agency to choose principles of truth.
If you cut one more thing in my house, I'm going to take the scissors, look at me, and I'm going to cut its head off.
Grandma will be so mad.
8 Passengers YouTube channel has been removed, but podcasts featuring both Ruby Franke and Jodi Hildebrandt are still online. We listened to them today, some of them, and found episode after episode featuring advice about parenting and children.
You're the mother and she is the child. This is not a relationship where you trust her. That's not your job as a mother. In fact, your job as a mother is to constantly be scrutinizing her, to constantly be judging her choices against principles.
Well, I am also right outside the Division of Professional Licensing. We'll explain why in just a little bit. However, the former client that we spoke with, his name is Trey Warner, and he says that Jodi Hildebrandt was really good at using shaming tactics to pit husband and wives against each other. And he also says that she was very good at convincing people that they were dangerous for other people to be around. He joined a support group at the recommendation of a friend trying to improve his marriage. But after a while, he says he grew more suspicious of what Jodi Hildebrandt was teaching.
It started to feel more and more evil. And I finally, in one of the group meetings, I got up and I just said, this is off.
Warner claims Hildebrandt would use shaming tactics to turn husbands and wives against each other, adding that she would convince men that their impure thoughts made them dangerous to their families. He says he saw one case during a group session.
There was a man that had a successful business that believed that he was a danger to his wife and his family because he did a double take. As a woman, like if he saw a beautiful woman, he would see and he'd look again. This guy got his own apartment and separated from his family because he was a danger.
In some cases, Warner claims husbands were separated from their families for so long, they were considering suicide.
They felt so sick and like such a failure that they just felt like they shouldn't be here anymore.
When was the last time you either saw, spoke to, or in a way heard from Jodi? Has it been a long time?
It's been a long time. I think it was a family member's wedding, like probably over a decade ago.
You were also under her care at one point, right?
Yeah, I was left in her care when I was a teenager for a little under a year.
Have you met Ruby before?
No, I've never met Ruby. This is the first time I've ever heard of her. I have gone and watched at least some of her videos. They're very difficult to watch just for my own experience with that form of therapy. It's quite triggering, to be honest. So I've never met her, but the things that she is saying and regurgitating are very, very familiar to me. It's interesting to watch I understand this, but it's interesting to watch the world respond to her and kind of putting her at the forefront. And I understand that she's the mother of these children, and it makes sense. But the philosophies and the therapeutic modalities that she's using are Jodi's. And these are not new. These are not, this is a pattern that Jodi has been engaged with for at least 14 years. I don't know if there are other people that she's used these on, but she's definitely taught. I know that she teaches parents to use these types of therapies, as she would call them. So yeah, it's been a really interesting experience watching everyone focus on Ruby, and I understand why. But this is Jodi. These are Jodi's words. These are Jodi's ideas. These are over decades old. So yeah.
Is that why you've called Jodi the mastermind behind all of this?
Yes. That doesn't excuse Ruby's involvement and her perpetuating these beliefs and these systems, but Ruby didn't come up with this. Ruby obviously supports it and has used these on her children, but this is coming from Jodi. Yeah. So the things that I experienced while living with Jodi, I experienced being tied, I experienced being duct taped, I experienced being blindfolded, I experienced severe isolation, I experienced severe emotional, spiritual, and psychological abuse. I experienced the being told I shouldn't be around other people, being told that I was dangerous to be around. People were afraid of me to the point where I was afraid of myself. I was physically, I was forced to sleep outside in the snow. I was, like I said, isolated for up to 12 hours a day. If someone spoke to me directly, if I wasn't wearing duct tape on my mouth, I had to just stare at them and not respond, because she also had systems of people that would report back to her if I broke any of these rules. And her whole thing, which is deeply, darkly ironic, is that everything stems from shame and how horrible shame is, and that all of the reason, like all of mental illness, all tics, so like OCDs, addiction, everything stems from shame, which is just horrifying because she is the greatest perpetuator of shame. She also, and this is like a very deep connection and why I chose to come forward to the media rather than just staying with the podcast. She accused me of being a sex addict. She accused me of being addicted to masturbation, to the point where I wasn't allowed to, I mentioned this on the podcast, to the point where I wasn't allowed to use tampons. I never was allowed privacy unless I was isolated. So that included the bathroom. I was never allowed to have the door closed because she was convinced that I was just constantly masturbating. She was convinced that I was addicted to porn. I had never seen porn at that point in my life. I didn't even know that people with my anatomy could masturbate. Like I had no idea any of this stuff, but I just believed her because she used religion and God as a mode of control, and a mode to manipulate. And so I just believed all of these things. So her ability to convince you of these neuroticisms and these behaviors is, and I was a teenager. And so a child in that position of being told this over and over and over and over again, which I'm certain he was, stood no chance. She also, because of what the abuse and torturing that was going on, and the belief that she had that I was doing something more. So her rationale to the severity of these punishments and this physical and emotional abuse was, she wanted to make my life, and this is like her quote, like this is what she would tell me all of the time. She wanted to make my life so uncomfortable that it would force the sin out, that it would force me to confess. So things continuously got worse and worse and progressively more and more intense as a way to get me to confess, because she believed that if I had confessed everything, if all of my sins were out and in the open, that I would be getting better. And I was declining like very fast, exponentially. And so she just kept ramping it up. And so to hear Ruby tell the world that her child is a sex addict, a predator, and has been addicted to porn since he was 3 years old, it just echoes exactly the things that she was telling me and telling everyone around me. And I know that I don't know if I got this right, but I'm pretty sure that she's saying that he even confessed to it. Well, I also confessed to things that I didn't do as a way of trying to get the abuse to stop. Because when she's like drilling it into you both psychologically and physically that there's more, and it will stop once you tell her, because that's what she would tell you. Like in the middle of the abuse, she'd be like, I'll stop as soon as you tell me. As soon as you tell me what's going on, what you did. Oh, she was also convinced that I had abortions. She was convinced she made me do 12-step because she was convinced I was an addict, like a drug addict as well. I'd never done drugs. I'd never had sex. Again, I didn't know that masturbation was even possible. I had no idea what these things were. So I just started making things up as a way, as like trying to get this to stop, because I had no one there to help me and to save me. And I think I even said that on the podcast, that I was making things up. And when I spoke to the detective down in St. George days ago, I told her that as well. It's like and so even if he had confessed, it cannot be taken seriously, because this child was being tortured. And I'm certain that she echoed those words of like, if you tell me, I will stop. So what is happening, it just echoes so close to home of what she did to me.
Even before her arrest, Ruby Franke's social media videos providing strict parenting advice garnered a large following, but also raised eyebrows.
Up until now, I was really hoping that like keeping them home from school and wiping the floorboards would like really bring pain.
These are charges related to felonies, not misdemeanors, goes to the idea that we're talking about serious physical harm to the children.
Kelly Ruby Franke is a Utah mother of 6 behind a well-known parenting YouTube channel called 8 Passengers. She and her business partner, Jodi Hildebrandt, also ran a so-called counseling site called Connections. Now, last week, both were arrested and charged on several counts of aggravated child abuse after evidence surfaced suggesting they kept 2 of Franke's children tied up and starving in Hildebrandt's basement.
Prosecutors want those medical records for the 12-year-old boy and 10-year-old girl who they say are victims of child abuse. Prosecutors have filed this subpoena with the court, but at last check, a judge had not yet signed it. Now, the subpoena says that they want the St. George Regional Medical Center to provide those medical records belonging to the 2 children dated on or about August 30th within the next 10 days. On Monday, a child welfare hearing for Ruby Franke and her husband Kevin, that's set for here in Utah County to take place in juvenile court.
Kevin Franke and his lawyer arrived just before 8:30 this morning. His oldest daughter was also here. She arrived separately from Kevin. Ruby was called in remotely.
One of her former clients is a man named Adam Steed. Steed says he was sexually abused by someone with the Boy Scouts of America when he lived in Idaho as a child.
So my Mormon bishop asked me and my wife to go to her. I had just finished passing the statute of limitations in Idaho for criminal and civil sexual child abuse. They had this bizarre statute for 5 years. And I had changed that with my dad and a lot of people that we had done a grassroots movement together. And I moved down to Utah, and I had just finished a settlement case with Boy Scouts of America. And then, like, immediately afterwards, my bishop asked me to go to Jodi Hildebrandt with my wife for therapy.
Adam Steed says he and his wife were seeking counseling for ordinary issues that come up in any marriage.
Yeah, just normal marriage issues. Outside the fact there was a lot of stress on our marriage because we had done a settlement for child abuse with Boy Scouts of America, and we were having we had a 1-year-old baby and we had a newborn coming along, and we were both in school at Brigham Young University trying to do all of our credits, and my ex-wife had some issues as well that were kind of difficult, and I had trauma from what happened to me in the past, and we were just trying to be normal people and live a normal life and start and have a beautiful life after some of the things we'd gone through. It's hard for me to talk about this stuff because it's so traumatic. I think it was in April that I had started therapy with Jodi Hildebrandt, a group therapy with Jodi Hildebrandt with me and my wife. It was lighthearted and fun. And, think of like a PG movie or something, and a lady that's just charismatic and fun, and teaching these principles about delusion, denial, and all this kind of stuff. Codependency, using small examples in people's lives where they didn't realize they were in this state, and the whole room laughing about it. That was phase 1, and it was, couples, all happy couples, thinking they were with this incredible lady. When she separated the couples into all women and all men groups, then after she gained everyone's trust, then really bad things began to happen. And what's different in my case is that when I chose to leave this cult-like group, Jodi tried to punish me, and she worked through BYU Honor Code Office and legal measures to try to hurt me. And I have the emails between my ex-wife and her planning out all this stuff, talking about what the real issues in our marriage were, and then them evolving that into something drastically different with allegations that would totally destroy your life. And how that evolution happened from what they originally were like is just astounding. I had to come forward because when I heard that they were doing the same thing to those little kids that they did to me to hide their crimes, it was totally predictable. And I knew my records would just completely show the world the truth of how dangerous this lady really is. And clients that are close to her that are probably not really good people in the first place, but that she enhances their abilities under her guidance to do incredibly criminal things.
Adam claims that Jodi Hildebrandt conspired with his then wife to accuse him of sexually abusing their child.
I never had the courage to talk about this openly because the damage was so bad. After Jodi and my ex-wife got done trying to make me look like a child abuser and a sexual addict and a rapist and everything else, having been a victim that came forward to change the laws to protect children, and having the insecurities that victims have, the stigma and all that stuff, and Jodi working on me to try to make me look like I was a predator. In her final stage, when I refused to pay all the money and refused to stay in the group and was so uncomfortable with it, what they did to me, the coordinated attack to create the solution and all the stuff, I have all the documentation and these fine, I mean, I even, Jodi coaching my ex-wife in fine. I'll share that in this other interview, the exact words as she coaches her through how to make people think that they're coming up with the idea themselves. When she's trying to contort people's minds into thinking that there had been abuse and violence. And when you start to see this evidence of what the real issues were, what Jodi's agenda was, how she went about it, and the documentation for it, these people will be hung. I mean, the game's over. And these little kids that, that they're accusing of abuse, sexual abuse right now, to hide their crimes, that's just an old MO. And there's going to be so many victims coming forward with the same story. A story that if you told it on your own by yourself, everyone would think you're weird and creepy. But when 100 people come forward and tell the exact same story, and that's why Jodi's they're trying to act sick and speed up the hearing, is they don't want this complicated thing to materialize and then show this incredible crime.